Are you worrying yourself sick? A degree of worry is quite normal, and I want to talk about that and just normalize that. But when we get into this rumination and we start thinking of things and we allow ourselves to go off into all these different rabbit holes and thinking and ruminating on things, it can have an effect on the nervous system that dysregulates it, causes anxiety. And everything that I've been preaching on this channel is about nervous system dysregulation. And when that happens, the messages that are going to the brain are that you are in danger of some kind. So if you stay in this fight or flight or even freeze states of your nervous system for a prolonged time, it's meant to just go in and out of, right? You have a burst of worry about something and then the situation goes away. Or, there's always in life things are going to come at you. That's quite normal as well. But when we stay in this chronic state of fight or flight, and worry is a big component of that can dig this up and to cause our nervous system to go into fight or flight, it can have detrimental effects on the body. Your brain is getting the message on a day-to-day basis that you are in danger, something is wrong, and you need protection of some kind. And so I want to talk about this not only from a standpoint of chronic illness and chronic pain, but in the current situation in the world and US politics right now. We're in the middle of a presidential election year, and tomorrow actually we'll get the results. So I know that there's a lot of people that have a lot on their minds and a lot of worry. And so I want to address this today specifically just to maybe hopefully help somebody to have a new perspective on this worry and what it can potentially be doing to your body. And at the end, I'll give you a few different ways of how to help yourself on this topic. So, worry, what is it? It's a function of the brain. It is a mental state that we are in that is causing, the dictionary says, to feel or cause to feel anxious or troubled about actual or potential problems. It's cognitive response to a perceived threat. While worry in itself is not a bad thing, when you get into chronic worrying, that's when it becomes a problem. Let's normalize worrying though. It is a normal state of the brain. It's a normal emotion that comes with life, essentially, with being human. So you're going to have things that are on your mind that are going to be worrisome. That is quite normal. We also have a reptilian brain that is from back in the caveman day, has not really evolved all that much. Back then, it was working for us because if you hear something in the woods and it could be a bird or it could be a lion, you need to know, you need to be on high alert and you need to be worrying about these things. So worry and this heightened nervous system state was helpful. But again, it was meant to be in small doses, in small spurts. Nowadays, we have so many things that are worrying us that we just stay in this constant loop of feeling in anxiousness or into a state of working ourselves up over everything that's going on and the thoughts that we have. We're actually born with what's called a negative bias. So, for instance, say you hear 15 compliments during the day and one person says something that wasn't so kind or something that, you're questioning. What's the one thing that you're going to focus on? Where are your thoughts going to go to? To the negative. And it's just a natural way that our brains and our psychology are slanted towards looking at the negative, this negative bias. So it's something that we need to be aware of and to actively work to dispel, to see, is that really true? And to train yourself essentially to start looking towards the positive. And we'll get into that in a little bit. And to be honest, a little bit of worry can actually be helpful, right? It promotes us to maybe mitigate risk. It helps us to prepare for some things. It helps keeps us safe. It can help us prioritize things. It actually worrying about others is an act of compassion and it works on our empathy skills. So there's good that can come about it. And it's the degree of which you allow yourself to go down these rabbit holes, as I was mentioning, is the key. So within reason, helpful and very normal, but it can become a very negative thing if it's unchecked. So that's what this video is about, is to just become aware and try to start mitigating this, because it takes an active part on your side. Within reason, this is not a problem. But when it goes to the tipping point where it's just becomes a chronic worry or a rumination, then that can have factors to your health and you can actually worry yourself sick. What are we worrying about? Typically, it's everything under the sun. It's from finances to relationships, job worries of whether you're going to be made redundant, whether you have enough to pay the bills that month, things like balancing responsibilities, children and what's going on with them, or aging parents. It can be things from fear of accident or crime, or all these different things that are going on in the world events, worrying about what other people are saying about you or your stance in the world. You're worrying about yourself, maybe health issues, maybe it's personal well-being of loved ones, that sort of thing. And worrying potentially about the future and this unknown right now, like I said, with the US and the politics, this unknown over our future right now, and the wars going on in the world and all this unrest. So there's a lot to worry about, and it can very quickly spiral to feel unmanageable. It just feels too much. And so this is the point that I want to discuss today. Know that what you are focused on, you typically get more of. If you ever notice that if you're looking for a red car, you want to buy a red car, as an example, you see them on the road all the time. All of a sudden, you're seeing the same make and model, maybe, or you're just seeing red cars. If I tell you not to think about a elephant sitting on a ball, what are you thinking right now? Of an elephant sitting on a ball. It's a strange image, but your brain goes to it because I just focused your attention there. So this reticular activating system within the base and the stem of the brain is something that is constantly trying, the brain is trying to make you right in whatever you're thinking. So this is why the brain, the power of the brain is so amazing, but you have to be careful of what you're thinking of and the beliefs that you have, because whatever you're believing, the brain is going to actively try to prove you right. So if you're focused on the negative or if you're focused on the positive, you get two very different results. If you're focused on the lack all around you and the problems all around you, that's what you're going to see more of. If you're looking at the abundance and the good around you, that's what you're going to find more of. There's got to be a balance somehow, but you have to be aware of it, or else it's on autopilot and you're just in the same mode that you've been in. So this is whether it's working for you at the moment or not, I guess. If you're in chronic pain of some kind, or you're having a mind-body type of symptom, then obviously it is going in the wrong direction. Without the awareness, it can go into chronic pain, or it can go into these symptoms like IBS, migraine, back pain, shoulder pain, all these different things that are actually showing up within the body. The stress and the worry is showing up in the body. It's no wonder that we have an epidemic of chronic pain. The World Health Organization, they had a global burden of disease report. 2019, I think, is the latest one that I know of. And in that one, it was 1.1 billion people have migraine alone. So think about all the people with chronic back pain and neck pain and all the things that I just mentioned. And think of the billions and billions of people that we have in chronic pain globally. It's actually more people are in chronic pain than heart disease and cancer combined. So it's a huge, huge number of people. And it's no surprise, because this mind-body system that we're living in is all connected. The things that you're thinking out about and ruminating and worrying about are showing up in the body if left unchecked. And if you watch my content at all, you'll hear me talking a lot about neuroplastic pain or symptoms. And what that is essentially the brain perceiving safe messages from the body as dangerous. And how that happens is the nervous system gets dysregulated from the thoughts and the emotions and the way that we're feeling, gets dysregulated and sends danger signals up to the brain, which it perceives as dangerous and then tries to protect us in some way. Sometimes having felt sensations and physical symptoms that come out within the body. This is the case with migraine. This is what I'm focused on heavily. I had migraines for 34 years and was able to reverse that and actually get out of chronic pain. And I'm seeing tens of thousands of people being helped in all kinds of different um, symptoms. A lot of what is happening to cause the dysregulation of the nervous system is worry. So that is a big topic for me and one that I want to highlight here. One thing I want to point out here is this is not to say that these worries are not valid or the emotions behind them are not to be taken serious. Of course they are. All emotions, all thoughts, all feelings are valid. It's just what we do with them is the point. There is a very valid reason why you're feeling these ways. So I don't want to come across as this like toxic positivity, like, oh, everything's fine, you shouldn't worry. Absolutely, that is not what I'm saying in this video. It is that we have valid things to worry about. There's the list that I just went over, but it is what we do about that and whether it's going to be in a helpful way towards your well-being or if it's going to go in a detrimental way that potentially has the potential to risk your health. And it is a choice. I think people don't realize, they think that thoughts are just happening and they happen to you and you have no choice about it. And while, yes, thoughts come in, and a lot of times they're coming in from the subconscious mind, and so you don't really have any say over what is coming into the brain in a lot of instances. It's coming from things that have happened way in the past, or things that you've repressed, or things maybe you're triggered by something, or it's coming from an external factor of, say, the news or a situation that happens to somebody else, all these different things. So the thoughts themselves can come up out of your awareness. This is true. What my point is that now we have the choice of what to do about it. So it comes into the brain and you have two choices. You go in one direction where you follow that worry and you start spiraling into the rumination of all the things that could go wrong, all the things that are terrible about the situation, all the very problem focused. And I went to a coaching school with the methodology of solution-based brief coaching. And what that taught me is that when you focus on the problem, you're going to get more problem. If you focus on the solution, you will find a solution, or there's a better, higher chance that you will find a solution. You can either go down the negative path or the path that you're going to focus on this worry and all these different potentials and upsetting yourself and dysregulating the nervous system and the angst that comes with it. That is a choice. How long you stay on this path. I've seen a technique where a person puts on a timer. You could do it on your phone and they give themselves 10, 15 minutes, whatever. And they allow themselves to feel the angst of it and just feel the frustration and everything for the 15 minutes. Or they journal about it, trying to work through the process of this worry. But then they say, enough, time out. Now I choose to go in a different direction. I choose to focus on something else, or I choose to do another activity. I choose to go out in nature. I will get into techniques in a second. The other path is totally different. It is a path of you spend a little time here. This is absolutely normal and healthy to have worries. As I said before, it's even helpful in some ways. But how long you stay there is the key. So when you go on this other path, I want to give you just a few different techniques of how to go to another direction and keep your mind from this ruminating and from focusing on the negative. Okay. So one would be this concept of circle of control. Now, this came out with Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And there's this circle of control of the things that are within your control. So that would be your actions, your attitudes, your responses to things. In some points, your thoughts. I mentioned that they come in, but what you do with those thoughts. So these are the things that are within your control, your sphere of control. Then there's this circle of influence. So around you, there's different things. There's relationships to people. There's projects that are going on. Your input matters. You have some influence over this, but it's not completely within your control. There's other factors going on. Outer sphere is the circle of concern. And this is where things are completely out of your control. They are either things like people's opinion, the weather, global events. Now, I know in the US with this election, you can vote, so it's not completely out of your control, but the results are out of your control. You had a piece of the puzzle, but it's not within your control the entire election. It's just you have a piece of the influence. So the circle of concern are things that you're concerned about, but they are out of your control. So this framework helps us to see when you start to worry about something, you can look at those three and say, is this something that's within my control? Do I have influence on it? Or is this just a concern that I have absolutely no control over and this is going to happen regardless of my worry or anything that has to do with me? When you can do that and focus on the things that are within your control and try to let go a little bit of the things that are not. You did your part in whatever is in your influence, and then you have to let go a bit. The things that are in your control, you have to make decisions of whether it's worth your time and effort to worry about, or how you react to things, or how you're going to shift your attitude if it's not working to your best interest, that kind of thing. So this is one thing that can help. A second thing that can help is actively regulating your nervous system. So if you have a lot of worries, and that happens, life is going to happen, especially in this moment right now in the world globally, just things are a bit mad at the moment. You can actively regulate the nervous system. So you're doing things like ensuring your body and your brain, more importantly, is not feeling in danger. So danger is fear-based thinking. It is everything that goes around fear-based thinking. So it's frustration, angers, anything that's sending danger signals to the brain, essentially. And how to bring that down is anything that makes you feel regulated and have this inner peace. So it's going into nature. Some of my things, going into nature. I meditate. I spend time with my dog. I journal. I just did a 9-minute body scan meditation, actually. If you're interested in something like that, go to my YouTube channel at Migraine Oasis and check that out. It's on the Facebook group as well. Like and follow it while you're at it, please. um, so these things that are calming. So that is something that you actively have to do, though. You have to be conscious of the fact that this worry is kind of making you upset and to actively do something about it. Another one is to actually feel the emotion that you're worrying about. So a good technique for me is to journal about it. So if there's something that's worrying me, I take a pen and paper and I journal about it. It's trying to get to the emotion of what you're feeling and underneath what the worry is. So the worry, and then you have emotions around it, and then underneath the emotions is another deeper emotion. There's something called a emotion wheel, and you could Google that, or I'll try to link it to the bottom of this. So as an example, let me put that into concrete. So if you are angry about something and you start thinking about what's underneath the anger, it is, I feel like I was unheard or misunderstood. What's underneath that? Why does that make you so angry? It's frustration. Okay, actually, underneath it all is frustration. And you can start digging into where is that frustration coming from. There's always an emotion underneath the base emotion that you're feeling. So digging into that, feeling it, that sometimes is enough to just get over the worry. Or you journal about the worst case scenario of this. What is actually, you try to ask yourself, what is the truth? Is this actually a worry? What are the chances of it coming true? And thinking through that to put a different perspective on it. Actually, there's a study, there's one in Cornell and there's another one, oh, I forget the reference. There were two researchers that did it, but they came up with, well, one was 3% of all worries actually are something that will come to fruition. The situation will actually happen. One I heard was 9%. So I don't know, somewhere in there, but a low percent of what you're worrying about will actually come true. And what they found is that even if it did come true, the outcome was a lot less worse than what they had anticipated. What's on my mind today and why I'm making this video is the US elections. I know a lot of people are really stressed about this. And so, yes, there's a 50-50 chance of your candidate going into office. So the worry is a little bit of a different percentage rate on this one. But in general, the things that you're worrying about are not likely to come to fruition. And so we need to just put a sanity check on it and put a little pulse check on what's the worst case scenario. I did a lot of worrying about losing my job. We always had redundancies in the company and restructurings. And I was always worried because I knew that if I didn't have a job, I would potentially not be able to stay in Switzerland because it's a very expensive place to stay. And at certain points, I was on a work permit. So the first 5 years, there was this angst inside that I didn't really realize was happening, but it was somewhere back in the subconscious of this uneasiness that if I lost the job, then I would have to quickly get another one or I would be headed back to the US. Not the worst thing that could happen, but I love Switzerland and I wanted to stay here. Years later came out in therapy of what is the likelihood that that actually would have happened if you actually couldn't find another job? Or have you done your budget? Do you actually know how much money you have, how long you can last in the country? So you need to take a reality check sometimes of, is what you're worrying about actually, uh, I was going to say valid. Everything is valid. Every emotion, everything is valid. It's just, is it something that is, I guess, working? I say this a lot, working in your best interest or working to the detriment of your health. So look at it in that way, maybe. And the last practice or the tool would be gratitude, because that's been shown in studies to help tremendously to actually decrease chronic pain. And it is something that gets you outside of yourself and gets you focused off this negative path and onto one where you can actually see the good. Small things like I saw a butterfly as I was filming this outside the window. Beauty is all around. The fall leaves are turning colors. It's just beautiful here in Switzerland right now. The pillow that I slept on, the fact that I have a warm bed to sleep on, that I'm not in a war zone, that I could take a hot shower, that I'm able to speak to you right now, that I have the technology and my legs work, my arms work, like all these different things. There's so much to be grateful for. And when you start to think like that, your brain actually get reprogrammed into thinking of more of the positive. And like I said before, what you focus on, you get more of. So you start focusing on the gratitude and the good, and you start getting more of that. And these worries sort of start dissipating a little bit, or they go into the background a little bit. It might be that they're still there, but they're sort of less intense and they're dysregulating the nervous system less. And that's the key. So I'll leave it there. I'm grateful for you being here and listening to me. And I really hope that something in here has helped you to maybe shift perspective on worry, to look at worry in a way that if you feel very anxious, and I keep saying this dysregulation of the nervous system, but that is what it does. If you don't understand what that is, I've got other videos on that. I think one of the first videos I did explains that. But if that's how you feel, I really want you to take a look at that and to understand in the current state right now with this election coming up, it is very specific that I'm talking about on this video, something that we're going to have to deal with one way or another. A technique today for anybody that's in the States or watching around the world, don't watch the news 24/7. Do you really need to know every single state as it comes in? Or can you get updates every hour or two? Do you really need to know every single second? This I question all the time to the people around me when I was in the States. This news of the other states and things that are going on. I am picking and choosing what I'm focused on because I know the brain is super powerful and I know my nervous system is of utmost importance to keep regulated because otherwise I don't want to go back into chronic pain. I don't want to go into having sensations in my body or symptoms that come out from this mind body connection. So it's just a encouragement, I guess, to take a look at how much of the news you're ingesting or the things around you, the people you're surrounding yourself with that are causing more worry potentially and aggravating the situation more. and to find active ways to calm the nervous system, maybe journal about it, what's going on, and know that either way, we're going to get through it. It's going to work out. It's not, this is where I go back to, the likelihood of it being catastrophic. I mean, we think like that. We think like, oh, if my candidate doesn't get in, this is going to happen, and it's going to be catastrophic. You know, you can think of it like that, and that's going down that road of ruminating and getting yourself all upset. Will some of that happen? Maybe. Is it in your sphere of control? No, a lot of it's not, unless, you're getting actively involved in politics or voting and different things. You have an influence, slight. It's just to manage expectations, manage the fact that worrying about some of this stuff is not going to do you any good and has the potential to really harm your health. And that is the main message. And I really hope you keep healthy and keep everything in perspective and be actively working on this so that you do not end up with any symptoms, because it does show up in the body eventually if you are not taking care of this actively. So I wish you well, and I will stop there. If you like this video, if this content is something that's interesting to you, please like it, please follow along, please comment. It really helps the algorithm to get this out to more people. And I appreciate your time. And don't worry, you'll see me again.